This is Sumit from Labeler. Today I'm going to talk with Soma Dhavla. He's a principal researcher at Vadhvani AI, and we are going to ask his journey, his daily challenges, developing ML-based, deep learning-based AI product. So, hi Soma, welcome. How are you?
Yeah, thank you, Sumit. Yeah, very good. How are you?
I'm good too. So yeah, means let's start with means your journey so far. Means how much experience do you have as an ML scientist in the industry?
Yeah. It depends on when you count and how you count and what is ML.
Right.
Basically, my training was in engineering, but then I got my PhD in statistics way back in 2010. Of course, no, I was a signal processing engineer. No, that's where I got my master's from. So in some sense, the modern data science and deep learning and machine learning has origins, in those disciplines. So maybe you can say, anywhere from, 50 to 20 is my experience in this area. Yeah,
Really great. So means
yeah,
right now you're working with Vadhvani AI. So what is
correct.
your work and responsibility in your
Yeah,
profile right
yeah,
now?
yeah. So at Dwadman Institute, it's a not-for-profit, and we work at the intersection of social problems that certainly will and need to have an AI component. And we look at developing end-to-end solutions, of which AI is one of the components. And we have various verticals like solutions that consist of ML and engineering, then products and partnerships, and many other supporting functionalities to develop and deliver an end-to-end solution. So my responsibility is to basically develop the architecture, basically almost like what does it take to build an ML application in its end to end. So we have to wear multiple hats. Now sometimes it is a developer, it's the role of a developer. Sometimes it's that of a tester. Sometimes it's like an architect. Sometimes it's like a tester. Anything of that sort. And I have a really good team. Very brilliant people, and sometimes I'll just sit and watch and how they do it and marvel at what they do.
Okay. So what is your biggest challenge? Means you're managing your team and managing
Yeah,
overall this
yeah,
project. So what
yeah.
you consider as the
Sure.
biggest challenge for you?
Right. Yeah. I think the biggest challenge and is that particularly it's not an academic setting where you already began with a data set and you create a problem of interest to you and then go about solving it, right? At least in the industrial setting where we focus on basically bringing value and delivering value. Sometimes the journey is not known to us. For example, what is right data? First of all, it begins with a problem. What problem are you trying to solve? And since it's an ML problem, we need to work with data. So consequently, where can we get it? What is the quality, the veracity? All of that are unknown. And sometimes, nobody comes and gives you this data in a golden platter. You have to seek it, you have to pursue it, and that's a journey. And as a result, you discover a lot more things. Now, for example, there could be issues with the quality, right? All the data may not come in one go, right? Secondly, your understanding of the problem also will evolve with your data acquisition. Consequently, you might need to rethink what is basically fundamental metric that you want to track, right? In the beginning, maybe you think that this data is sufficient, but you dig into, you dive deeper and realize that maybe I need more. Okay, so basically, I think it's a discovery process. At the beginning, you'll have a rough playground, but as you work with it in iterative manner, and I think you basically evolve. Your understanding about the problem evolves. So does the data. I think the biggest challenge is that not exactly challenge, but maybe the mindset and the outlook with which we need to proceed is that don't shoot for perfection. Basically, focus on the end. Along the way, be willing to change and be willing to change the definition of what is the right problem. In other words, it's a discovery process. Okay, and the data is the fundamental driver. In some sense, I would say that you focus on both ends of the problem, which is the problem, the value that you want to deliver, versus what is needed to drive it. That's data and the outcome. And ML modeling is just a means of doing that. Maybe you don't need ML to solve the problem. Maybe you need single models will work. Maybe you need deep learning models. We don't know. So by focusing on the tail end and head in the problem, you allow yourself to deliver value and invest the right amount of time, money, and effort. I think that's the takeaway. I think these principles might hold for every project, but the nuances can vary from project to project.
Right, right. So, Miss, what's your take on enterprises' understanding of AI/ML as a technology? Means you probably face some issue while means
Right.
their expectation might be something else, which is
Sure.
like this is something
Sure.
like magical, but you as a researcher, you have to communicate that this is not the
Absolutely.
technology works. So how
Absolutely.
what do you think, means what's your stand on it?
Yeah, right. No, generally speaking, I think for enterprises that are, let's say, for example, small to medium, which are a new entrance into this particular area, might struggle quite a bit, because either because of the lack of expertise or because of the wrong expectations. Now, basically, how do you derive value out of these ML products? That can be misunderstood, because what you see in the mainstream media these days is probably not really the truth. Okay, and this kind of expertise and know-how probably is with internet first companies, which have the money, might, and muscle to build such things. So for medium to small enterprises, the challenge is really in scoping out the problem, and don't look for perfection. Don't look for perfection, but I would say basically go for a breadth first approach. Typically, medium to small enterprises don't focus on these aspects. They think that ML is a miracle, it's a magical bullet, silver bullet. We have it, therefore we can solve the problem. I think more often than not, that's not the case. Now, second, the difficulty is in establishing the right best practices, right principles, and figuring out the right set of priorities. Depending on the problem, the scale, the impact, the amount of data, all of that is required, right? Then the kind of tool sets you use will vary. Particularly if you deploy these solutions, finally everybody wants to deploy the solution, right? Otherwise, it's just becoming like academic exercise. Enterprises should not be interested in only picking up problems, for the sake of them, right? Unless it's a purely exploratory kind of an endeavor. So when the focus is on delivery and create impact using AI as simply as a technology, just like cloud or whatever, right? Just technology. To derive the best value out of it, I think focusing on the continuous delivery, continuous improvement, taking some of the best practices from the software industry are important. But the challenge that we see in the ML space is that this tool set and the process are not very well evolved on par with the software engineering world. Consequently, particularly small teams, fresh teams are looking at these problems afresh. I think may face challenges like this. So I think organizations need to invest little bit of their time before even solving the problem, creating these tools and charting out the landscape, into semi-overlapping verticals. Okay, I can elaborate on that one, but roughly speaking, focus on the end-to-end delivery. Don't look for perfection. Make the journey iterative. Figure out the right tool set and the process that are needed. Otherwise, communication could become very hard. Exchanging data will become very hard, and explaining. I think other aspect that people generally miss is about the holistic machine learning. Once your product is out, in this case, AI product is out, the data is out. Okay, if you look at the problem in a very abstract sense, models are simply producing data. And by definition, those data is not reliable. No, there is uncertainty in it. Consequently, how do products deal with uncertainty is probably the biggest misconception that typical enterprises that are converting from software 1.0 to software 2.0. Therefore, even the product design shall consider these aspects, okay, along with the tooling and the process. That means performance is definitely important, but equally important are your ability to monitor. What's happening with your predictions that are in the wild. Can you recover? Can you recollect? Can you replay? Can you record? These aspects could become important depending on the level of the organization, maturity of the organization, and the level of support needed, and the severity of the predictions that happen in real life. I think there is no black and white answer to this, but generally depends on many factors, and one needs to choose an appropriate production roadmap depending on the problem.
Right. So yeah, Miss, you mentioned something about that academic researchers and also the enterprise production level AI. So Miss, the scaling up, research is another thing, and the scaling up to productionize that model and make it production ready. So what are the
Right.
challenges in that, means, and how you tackle it? Means, what's your experience
Yeah.
around it?
Right. No, certainly, I think scaling, basically figuring out the non-functional requirements, right? Typically, when you say AI, typically an ML scientist will simply focus mostly on the performance. Generally they may not care, or they offload the responsibility to ML engineers, whose job is to make sure that these models working in production have a low latency, no high throughput, no other non-functional aspects, but mostly on the software reliability, standpoint, right? I think now, depending on the deployment environment, for example, it could be edge. Your models could be sitting on the mobile phones, on the edge devices, which may have internet, may not have an internet, right? Or they could be simply in the cloud, or maybe some hybrid model. So it's I think, which is why having the product centric view is actually very, very important. If you know that this is my operating condition or the operating environment, you have to bake those design aspects into the product building too. Then, okay, maybe you trade off performance accuracy for the sake of latency, which is important, right? So I think it becomes like what is it you trade off? I mean, there may not be a perfect balance between these two, but then you consider those aspects. Now, for example, in some of the problems that I work and that I'm working with, is this is our design input is very critical. Now, for example, can we have GPUs? Okay, if you have GPUs, definitely you can leverage those GPUs and make sure that the scoring times have a sub or close to 100 to 200 millisecond responses. If not, if latency cannot be reduced because your models are inherently complex, then you have to bake this input itself in the product. That means maybe some fallback mechanisms, maybe some callback APIs, so on and so forth, right? I think a healthy discussion between the product, considering the customer requirements, with engineering team and the ML team needs to happen, and a consensus needs to be built up. Otherwise, the ML scientists will only focus on performance. That is not deployment worthy because it's not useful. When you're expecting a sub-second response, this model runs for 10 minutes. That's not acceptable. Okay, and these frameworks do exist, and at least if it's a cloud native deployment, I'm pretty sure that you can look at, for example, model distillation, model compressions. Basically looking at cloud native machine learning serving environments. They exist these days. I think technology exists, but I think question is about choosing the right technology and bake those inputs into model building too. These are not really two different independent activities. I think they all need to be considered together at the time of designing, and ML scientists need to be informed of the production requirements, if you will.
Okay, cool. So means you said that overall team should be well communicated before the
Absolutely.
starting the project, and so for that you have to implement some certain processes throughout the team.
Yes.
So
Correct.
and means, so what do you think, means why these processes not in place? Means why so many companies are not able to do that? And with the tool wise, you also mentioned that companies need to invest in tools.
Right.
So what are the gaps, and what exactly you mean by that?
Right.
When you're talking about
This is a terrific question. I think this is where most organizations basically miss the boat. Reading the situation. Basically, by definition, I mean to comparatively speaking, this ML ops, all of this is actually about ML ops. We are taking it granted. Given a data, given a problem, ML scientists can figure out how to solve it. I'm taking it for granted, but I'm talking about, if you want to create value, you need to deploy the models, and they need to be in action, right? And this is a multidisciplinary team. You need to have business owners / business analysts. You need to have data scientists. You need to have ML scientists. You need to have ML engineers, and finally software engineers, right? To create the complete stack. So obviously, this is not a single person's job. It's tough for a single person to do all of that. You need a composition. But obviously, when you bring these disparate teams into it, the communications challenge could be brittle, right? So and secondly, the data flows, particularly even if the ML model is stylized, if multiple teams are working on the same problem, data exchange could be really painful job. And people could exchange data sets via Slack, via emails. That's horrible, right? So you want to make sure that, for example, data is versioned, models are versioned, your runtimes are versioned, right? So this doesn't come automatically. This is a very hard job for a data scientist to do it. Without tools, this is incredibly harder problem. So, and if you look at this, this is why processes are important. Just like, for example, software industry figured out like the likes of Gitflow, using Git artifacts, commits, so on and so forth, right? That doesn't, it exists, but you can't really borrow and apply without any modifications for the ML workflow, because by definition this is very iterative. Now data comes in, you prototype, you iterate. If real-time feedback data is coming in, you want to train and retrain and readapt, right? So this is an inherently iterative business, not like a typical, I don't say waterfall just for the sake of argument. I'm saying a clear comparison. I'm saying it's like waterfall in the typical software 1.0, where you got requirements, you build, you deliver, you iterate, obviously, but the fundamental nature of development is not iterative. In this case, data is involved. Data is the ingredient. Consequently, what can happen is that the real world situation could be different from where you began modeling the problem. So consequently, you need to be adaptive and agile to take those inputs and reshape your, reconfigure your pipelines. So this poses a fundamental one order of magnitude, if not more orders of magnitude complexity to managing this ML entire ML life cycle. And in terms of the tooling, right, as I said, I like to draw attention to the small, medium, and big enterprises. Okay, if you're basically a small enterprise and you don't have a lot of wherewithal, maybe you pick a simpler tool, something like an MLflow, to manage your data versioning, model versioning, artifacts, something simple which your data scientists themselves can operationalize. You don't need a big machine learning expertise, ML engineering expertise to deliver them. You can create APIs very easily on the top. Whereas if you are really big enterprise and wanting to serve the large scale customers, right, then you might have multiple models and multiple segmentations. You want to run concurrent experiments. So the operationalization of the ML itself is like very big. You want to make sure that the model serving is resilient, fault tolerant. You need site reliability mechanics going on, right? Then maybe you want to go to Kubeflow. If you're somewhere in the middle where you want best of the both worlds, you're more like middleware or middle enterprise guy, maybe you could be looking at a Kedro. But regardless, the principles are common. What is the friction to adoption and what is the support and maintenance and the skill that is needed to maintain these tools will vary depending on this particular spectrum. Therefore, you have to choose the tool set that is right for your at this point in time, and be open to learn and evolve. Pick the right tool for you. But nevertheless, picking the right tool is important. If not, you get into a lot of trouble, later point of time. With respect to the facets that I mentioned, like reproducibility, auditability, tell me what's going on. It could be explainability, it's interpretability. These hard questions can get asked later. Maybe not now. They can come back at some point in time. So are you ready for it? Do you have a tooling and process in place to get yourself into that position as a part of the journey?
Right. So, Ms. You have shared lots of things, Ms. Soma, with us. And Ms., to conclude, I just wanted to understand, Ms., how you see next 5 years in terms of AI, adoption in all kind of enterprises.
Yeah. I think in some ways, I think the tooling space will definitely evolve. I think we will see more design patterns, that could come up. In other words, instead of reinventing or rediscovering the same problem again and again, maybe best practices and best tool sets come out of as a community. I think we are getting there. Maybe that space will certainly evolve. Second, I think a lot of myth will give away to reality, meaning the hype cycle probably will come down, and I think business owners start asking for value. There is no longer the case where you have 10 data scientists in esoteric places get to work. No, that's not going to happen. Probably that will wither away. To make it, in other words, I think we need to de-glamorize and de-glorify data science and ML and make it more humble, more realistic, and basically demand value from data scientists and ML scientists. I think that's probably second or third. I'm not counting the numbers. And fourth could be, I think, efforts to create responsible ML AI kind of thing. Right now we are mostly in the lab situation. We're not, I think, except for the big internet first companies. I'm talking about the small scale enterprises. for them to become mainstream, I think it's an evolution, not only in terms of the tooling, etc., but also in governance, in terms of treating this ML as a holistic ML. That means responsible, ethical AI, right? I think we don't understand the space very well, but industry and academics are working on those aspects. Maybe they also become important aspects, just like accuracy, performance, latency, throughput. We'll have other dimensions which typically did not exist with the software industry. Now, I think they become equally important aspects, facets of life, because someone could be asking those hard questions. So in that sense, depending on your vertical and your portfolio, you need to look at the spectrum of the concerns that somebody could have, and then proactively try solving them. I think in that sense, our shift will focus on commoditization, bringing value, deglorifying and deglamorizing this particular space, and bringing more accountability with the tooling process and so on and so forth, and also make these solutions responsible. I think there is a lot of imminent concerns around, will the solutions become non-responsible? There are concerns around that. I think as an industry, I think those, I don't say they will get addressed completely. At least honest attempts will be made that can be, at least somebody can benefit from that. I think that might be a possibility.
Right. So making AI useful rather than just a hype.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you, Soma, for all your valuable feedback and insights. We hope that we'll talk in future too, maybe in, in coming months, to understand what you have progressed with your AI development and all. So have a nice day. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you so much. Thanks for that opportunity. Thank you. Bye bye.